Oh god. Everything went quiet. Hello?
What? Who?
Welcome in, MF crew, to the Modified Fate podcast. I'm your host, Cheese. With me today is Kuro and Crop Circles. The name of today's episode is Tactical Planning. It is a tome trigger, mostly in 10 Thunders. It's enemy only. This model's crew gains a pass token. Kuro, what are you playing this week?
Are we playing this week? Probably Hoffman.
Crop, are you excited about your new resers?
I am. I wanted to play McMorning since like when I first started first edition, so I'm eager to try that out and then become immediately disappointed. But at the same time, there's just something cool about crazy Dr. Frankenstein things, so I'm down with it.
Yeah, you're pretty into poison in this game, I've noticed.
I have now achieved both crews that do poison.
All right, so on this episode, we're gonna discuss our gaming history, and take it away, Kuro.
Oh, good lord. I did Pokemon TCG when it was out. I watched the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, which got me into the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, which then our local game store offered to trade all my Yu-Gi-Oh in to get me into Magic. And I got a top 8 in that at a PTQ forever ago. I've learned UFS and Versus at one point, and freaking Force of Will. And then on the mini side, I've done Hero Clicks and War Machine and Games Workshop and Malifaux. And I think that covers most of it.
And your deck for that top 8 PTQ?
Oh, Red Groot.
Just randomly throwing Garuk Wildspeaker into
Yeah,
mono
and
red
a
burn.
burn.
And Crop, how about you?
I started.
No guy.
Yeah. So I started playing card games with a game called Overpower, which was like one of the first few CCGs released. I played that because my mom was like, "You ain't having none of them their Magic cards in this their house," which lasted up until one of my friends, his dad started picking up the Overpower stuff because he liked collecting cards. And then he started picking up Magic because he liked collecting cards. So he just gave me a bunch of cards, which stayed at my locker at school. But then I started playing Magic, and as far as card games I played, so I would Overpower, Magic, Middle Earth, Legend of the Five Rings, Netrunner, Versus. I played Yu-Gi-Oh for a hot minute. That was an interesting week. Gosh, a bunch of games that came out had 2 sets and were canceled. I played the WoW TCG. So for Versus, I actually qualified for their pro circuit. I never got to go, but I qualified, which was pretty sweet. And I top 8'd a couple of regional things for WoW. And then as far as minis, when I was in college, a friend of mine got me started on Games Workshop, and up until that point, I had only played Mage Knight. But he got me started playing Warhammer 40k. Played that for a while. A friend of mine introduced me to War Machine at a at his brother's wedding.
Nice.
Yeah, no. After the wedding was done, we sat there on the tables while everyone else was clearing stuff off, and we played War Machine, which was awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty epic.
And then that kind of just solidified my downslide into, if it has minis and a good set of rules, I'm probably interested. But shortly thereafter, Malifaux came out, and I was interested, but I was like, nothing's really grabbing me. I'm not going to jump into yet another game. And then literally the second book comes out, so the first set of expansion stuff for Malifaux, and they have Kurai, who's basically the movie The Grudge as a person. Because her thing is all vengeance, and she just summons ghosts. And I was like, damn it, I'm in. And so for first and second edition, I played mostly Kurai, and then Mifang when she came out, because she was fucking cool. Well, I just moved us to an MA podcast. Anyway, but yeah, and then there came a point where the group to play with that I had several people that I did not want to deal with, so I got rid of all my stuff, and so now I've been getting back into it, and I have I have 2 crews for Bayou and 2 crews for Rezzers right now, and as previously mentioned, 2 of those are poison-based crews, so Tri-Chi and Experimental. So we'll see how all this goes. But honestly, I am enjoying playing it again. I hadn't played much of 3rd edition before this. I played a lot of 1st and 2nd edition. So if anyone on the podcast is going to say, oh, that used to be broken, that's probably me.
That's fair. Speaking of Mei Fang, didn't you just pick that up, Kiro?
No, I picked up Misaki.
Oh, Last Blossom. Yeah.
Yeah, Misaki's sweet.
Yeah, I have 3 keywords in 10 Thunders now, I think, and several in...
Is one of them Qian Gong?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'm a degenerate.
That's tactical planning.
Yeah, exactly. Did you mention that you qualified for War Machine Weekend?
I did not. Or, anything I played in any of those games.
That's fine. We can forget about PP. Well, you can stop.
I did play WoW and Legend of Fire Rings too, but I did not do well in either of them, I don't think. I did almost beat a guy in WoW who created the deck I was playing because I put a 1 of in the deck that everyone said was garbage.
That's always classic.
Yeah, just like you throwing in Garuk into Mono Red.
Worked.
It did.
Garuk that costs 2 green, by the way. Everyone, 2 green.
Cloud Thresher costs 4 green.
Yeah,
and it was
Cloud Thresher was also in the deck, yeah.
And I put 2 more in sideboard. Because fairies were a thing.
Yeah,
that is true. Cloud Thresher did kind of spank fairies. If you could get him through.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I started with Magic. And I top 8'd in a Dissension pre-release. It's about the best I finished. I got top 15 in an extended tournament with Destructive Flow.
Sorry, that's my kind of deck right there.
But then Crop made me play War Machine, Hordes, WoW Minis.
WoW Minis was a great game, and I'm pissed that it got canceled before the third set even came out.
Yeah, it was a fun game.
Yeah, you guys also had AT-43.
We did have AT-43.
Now I'm sad.
You mean the best random piece of terrain I've ever gotten?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
I have these little barricades from it that are phenomenal, and they randomly came in one box. I don't even remember which box it was now.
Yeah, I had a storage container, but I have no idea what happened to it. So mostly played War Machine and Hordes for a long time until they decided to go to Mark IV. And then we started Malifaux probably a month or two later.
There was a little more gap between them, but that's because we were waiting to see if our store would come back, which it didn't.
Our LGS
and we were
also died. Yeah,
we were like, there was a lot of stuff happening, but as all that was happening, I randomly got the Brewmaster stuff from another friend of ours, and then I was like, well, you all should play with me, and because that's what I do, is I'm a pusher.
mm-hmm.
I'm a sucker for models, so
Yeah, that's fair. All right, I guess we'll go switch over to talk about GG4 now. So there's 13 schemes. A couple of them are repeats from previous editions of Gaining Grounds.
But all of them have been edited, haven't they?
I think so.
Like, all the repeats got edited some.
Yeah. So
I think it was mostly cleanup. Like, In Your Face got changed to
how we were playing it. Yeah.
To a way that played it that was actually possible, as opposed to remember what happened an hour ago.
Right. All right, so the first one is Let Them Bleed. The reveal condition is at the end of turn. If there are two enemy models in play that have or are tied for the highest cost and both models are at half or less of their max health, gain 1 VP. Leaders and models with summon upgrades are ignored for revealing this scheme. I took this against Kuro, and it was very difficult to score. Because one of his high cost models was a front line, and the other one was Snowstorm in the back line.
Well, and Snowstorm is not easy to take down. She's got a lot of defensive stuff going for her, especially if she's all the way back there. So
yeah, and the other one was an Ice Golem with Soulstone Cache on it, I believe.
Yeah. Then the end condition is at the end of the game, if there is no more than one enemy model without a summon upgrade in play that has max health, gain a VP.
Yeah,
the end condition actually seems
awful.
doable.
Awful.
Oh, I think it's doable. But then, okay, you're talking to the person who has 2 poison crews.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
Having 1 damage on all of your
count.
pieces, okay.
I do feel like the end condition is easy to avoid because one of your cheap out of place models just runs to a corner.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess one thing to note though is oh no, that wouldn't work. Okay. I guess it all depends on you know what you brought in your crew, but a lot of the versatile stuff I've seen you play with Neverborn would make that easy to avoid.
Yeah, that's
Heck.
It might be worth mentioning on the podcast that Crop has also done game design, so he looks at things a little bit differently.
Oh, that's true. I worked for Arcane Wonders for 3 years as a board game person. So back to the schemes. The other thing to keep in mind is if you have a model buried with max health.
Well, at the end they would die. So.
Oh, they would die?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if a model's buried at the end of the game, it dies.
But I guess that's the thing, though, is if you can bury a max health model, and then, okay, they'll activate right before the end and pop out.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, if you're not playing against Terra, or a couple other options, there's not much you're going to do to them.
Yeah. All right. The next one is an old one. At the beginning of the game, secretly choose a type of non-scheme marker. Then the reveal condition: after killing an enemy model within 2 inches of both one or more friendly scheme markers and one of the secretly chosen markers, you may reveal this scheme and remove one scheme marker within 2 inches of the killed model to gain 1 VP. So in the FAQ, it says you can choose strategy markers for this.
You can?
Non-scheme marker, yeah.
Wow.
That does make this easier, but
Yeah.
the way my brain works, this still hurts to think about, so I don't want to do it.
Right.
I think there's a couple of strategies where this becomes, I guess, actually, like, I think at least 3 of the strategies, that can make it really good. Because, like, what is it? Now I'm pulling it up. Cloak and Dagger? Yeah. Because when you complete it, then the other person gets to move the strategy marker.
Yeah.
So if my opponent does their Cloak and Dagger, then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna drop this next to one of your guys.
Well, the Raid the Vaults has a ton of markers too, so it's also really good for that.
Yeah, 6 markers. Yeah.
Stuff. I guess
this one's 7 markers.
I was gonna say Raid the Vaults and Plant Explosives have markers all over the field.
Yeah.
So I guess the way the strategies are set up in this Gaining Grounds, if your crew doesn't generate specific markers, then picking strategy markers could be a solid choice too.
Yeah, it's pretty viable.
Probably why they did that.
Yeah. And then the end condition is at the end of the game, like always, you remove 2 or more friendly different scheme markers, each within 2 inches of a different marker of the chosen type on the enemy table half to gain a VP.
Yeah,
the end condition's a little more difficult. But
2 or more different scheme markers each within.
But the end condition also, like, it feels like it just relies more on the scheme markers, and so certain crews that could be much easier, like, because certain crews just have an easier time popping out scheme markers all over the place.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I realize that it didn't come up in our game because I'm incompetent, but like, Molly has a bunch of stuff to drop scheme markers for her crew next to people that she's shooting at, and stuff like that. So, like, she has ways of getting scheme markers all over the place. So this feels like it could be good for her. Yeah, now that I realize it can work with strategy stuff, so.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that time either.
No. Neither of us knew. It's fine. But that does change it, and it makes it so that I feel like this is something that she could actually score pretty well.
Yeah. All right. And then Power Ritual. Reveal at the end of the turn, if you have a friendly scheme marker within 3 inches of a table corner, not part of your deployment zone, you may reveal the scheme and remove the marker to gain 1 VP. Simple.
Yep.
And then the end condition is 3 corners, and one of them can be in your deployment zone.
But it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I said can.
Yeah, no, it's just, that's an important note, because, I mean, like, the instinct is always, oh, I should just do mine because it's going to be easy, but depending on how the game plays out and how everything flows around, it might just be easier to go backlines.
Yeah. I definitely think this is an easier scheme on corners and flank.
Oh, so that's what I was going to say, is that, like, if you get corners, I feel like this is very, very doable.
Yeah, it's almost a gimme scheme at that point.
I mean, a lot of it still depends on the crew, obviously, but, I mean, you need to try and play for schemes anyway, and this, yeah, it seems very doable.
All right. And In Your Face was in GG3. The only change is the reveal is now when you kill the model within 3 of the leader, so that you can actually check it. You reveal a scheme and gain 1 VP if it's cost 8 or more. And then the end condition is the highest cost non-master model you hire in this game is in the opposing deployment zone. Another simple one.
Yeah.
Deliver a message was in previous GGs. The reveal is now during its activation, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To interact.
So before the game, you secretly choose a non-leader model, a friendly non-leader model. Then the reveal is during its activation. If the chosen model is within 1 inch and line of sight of an enemy master or leader, the secretly chosen model may take the interact action targeting the enemy model to gain 1 VP, and it does not count as being engaged by the
enemy model.
Yeah, the master or leader is not treated as engaging the secretly chosen model.
Yeah.
And then the end is at the end of the game if an enemy master or leader is within 2 inches and line of sight of a friendly scheme marker.
Yeah, I don't like a lot of the end conditions.
That one doesn't seem so bad, but I think you want to pair it with a scheme where you're going to be trying to drop scheme markers so that you can basically force a minefield on your opponent or give you a point.
That's fair.
Then Outflank, which is one that Kuro tried to score on me, this game's pretty hard, I think.
Ended poorly for me.
So reveal at the end of the turn if you have 2 models, each within 3 inches of where the center line meets a different table edge or corner, and at least one of them is within 3 inches of a friendly scheme marker. You may remove the scheme marker to gain a VP.
So the stuff I was looking up about Molly, I think she can pull this one off.
Well, we were on corners, so he put the
2 stealth models out there, but I underestimated how much movement that Cheese had available, and one of my stealth models got meleeed.
By Teddy, yeah.
It was like 18 inches of movement in one turn.
Yeah. Cade walked forward, lured him, and then where's Teddy? And then it was a fast Teddy, so he got there.
Ugh.
Yup.
But no, I was going to say, if you have Philip next to a Night Terror, you can discard for the Night Terror. Philip has an ability to get the same fading, and so then they both just start scooting together. So, and the Night Terror is going to give concealment. Yeah. So hopefully that should help. But you can do a crazy amount of movement. So that's why I think she can pull this one off.
And then the end condition, if you have 2 models, each within 3 of where the center line meets table edge or corner, and within 3 inches of a friendly scheme, you may remove each scheme to gain 1. So you need 1 for the first half, and then you need 2 for the second.
Yeah, I don't particularly love it because that means you have 2 models that are at the edge of the game, not doing a whole lot.
And they have to be fairly beefy to stay there, too.
Well, I mean,
not just get picked off.
Ideally, what you're going to do is you're going to try and zoom in turn 2 for the first one, and then leave, and then come back.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
That's still rough. I'm not like that. That's still rough.
But I might put them like mid distance to the outside and have them do stuff, and then try to have them score a turn 4, turn 5.
Yeah. That's
I feel like if you project it too much, it can be stopped.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing, though, is if you project it really early, then you're telling your opponent to protect potentially 2 locations that are far away from where you want the actual action happening.
Yeah. This one's really hard on corners and flank.
It's It's interesting. I definitely think this is one where I think getting 1 point out of it, you can do.
Yeah.
It's not like super easy, but it's straightforward enough. You can do that. But getting the working with that second point, that's where the fun begins.
And then we have hold up your forces. I think I tried this against you, Crop, but I killed your models too quickly. So reveal at the end of the turn if you have 2 or more friendly models, each engaging a different enemy model with a higher cost than itself. You may reveal to gain 1 VP. Very important that it doesn't mention non-master here. You can always engage a master for half of it.
But then you just repeat it for the end condition? That seems a little rough.
And it's an at the end of turn reveal, which is...
That's tough. Part of me thinks I want this with Brewmaster because fermented river monks are 6. And unless you're trying really hard, I've been managing to keep those guys alive.
They stay alive pretty easily.
So, and they can heal themselves. So I think this might be a good one for him.
I think this looks like another one. Yuko just goes, "Oh look, I have pass tokens."
That's the other way to do it real easy, is to try and manage the activations so that you're like, oh, these 2 guys have already activated. Zoom, zoom.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have espionage reveal at the end of the turn. You may remove 2 friendly scheme markers to gain 1 VP. One of the removed scheme markers must be on the center line, and one must be in the enemy deployment zone. The reveal seems pretty easy, honestly.
Yeah, because it doesn't say like center; it
Right,
just center line. That's
line,
not
yeah.
awful. That second part might be hard, but
I guess it's a lot of this is about which deployment you get. Because I would say
definitely
that what is it? Is corners the one where you have a slice, like a pizza slice, out of the corner?
Yeah.
Because then getting to their deployment, that seems like it's kind of rough.
Corners is definitely the smallest deployment zone.
But if you have a couple of good mobile, like, scheme running models, like, that you're going to want to have anyway, then getting that first part seems doable. You have to be purposeful about it. You're not going to accidentally get that. I mean, I'd also say, like, there are some people, like I mentioned, Molly has the stuff to force opponents to drop scheme markers for her crew next to their model.
Yeah.
And so that's a way to get one into their deployment zone. Or on the center line if you needed it. So that's interesting.
And then the end condition is basically the same thing, but you also need one in your own deployment zone.
The only problem with that end condition is that you have to do it again.
Yeah.
Because adding the 3rd token, honestly...
well, the mind games you can play it with just turn 1, some random dude drops a scheme marker.
Yeah. No, I was like, the 3rd one that you have to have, like, you can plant that way early. And that seems fairly inconsequential.
Yeah. Then swinging bullets, which Kuro and I both took against each other. At the beginning of the game, secretly choose a friendly non-leader model, and then the reveal is at the end of the turn if the chosen model is within 6 of the center point, and engaging an enemy master or henchman, gain 1 VP. And then at the end of the game, if there are no unengaged enemy masters or henchmen within 6 inches of the center point, gain 1 VP.
So I like the end condition because if you just nuke it from orbit, then there's no master or henchman on the table, so you just get it.
Yeah, this is one of the few that I feel like pushing models around in this GG matters.
Mm-hmm. I would also say that there are certain masters where getting that first part is going to be pulling teeth.
Yeah, that's the one I don't really love, that I rely on my opponent to come forward, but the henchman part kind of gives you, like, you're probably okay.
I mean, they have to be playing a henchman. Like, I wasn't playing
Sure.
a henchman against Cheese last time. And Molly does not. She doesn't want to be in the center.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you have lures, then you're right. This can be good. So, like, for someone like Seamus, or potentially like Brewmaster, people who have good lures,
yeah.
You might be able to pull this off in a weird way.
Yeah, he scored it on Pandora, and I scored it on Tina. Make that make sense.
Okay, I was gonna say Tina should be very good against this.
Yeah.
Well, you see.
All right, and this one's a little bit rough.
See, this is my favorite one. I
Really?
love this one. Oh, I love this one.
So,
I love it because it's indiscriminate, but go on.
So the reveal is at the end of the turn if there are more friendly scheme markers completely on the enemy table half, so not touching the center line, minimum 3, then enemy scheme markers in play, you may remove 2 scheme markers completely on the enemy table half to gain a VP. That feels like a lot.
Like, unless you're one of the masters like Molly, who's
I was
playing.
gonna say, like, I looked at this and I saw Molly, and I was like, she's made to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely the people that would lean into that.
But the other thing is, I like it because it encourages you to place a lot of scheme markers. And so any of the other schemes that need you to place scheme markers on your opponent's side of the board, it effectively hides them.
Yeah. I feel like that maybe projects less what you're doing this GG than the last one.
Oh,
because
definitely.
there's so much overlap there.
My issue is it's enemy scheme markers in play, so they get a lot more real estate to put scheme markers in that count for this one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, I will say that does like the reveal, not so much, but the second point that does hamper it a bunch, because if you know that your opponent's going to get another point from this, then what do? Oh, my last few activations, they just drop a scheme marker. Doesn't matter where.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. But I mean, like we mentioned Molly, because she has a lot of ways of removing scheme markers. There are other crews that can really manipulate scheme markers.
Yeah.
So, I guess this is one of those where your crew either really likes it or they really hate it.
This is definitely one that I wish the end condition and the reveal condition were similar. More similar than they are right here. Like, they both get in play instead of your friendly ones having to be on the enemy table half. Because rarely do you need to scheme on your side of the board.
Mm-hmm.
So then, take prisoners. Pretty sure this is a new one because it actually says Enforcer on it and none of the old ones did. So at the beginning of the game, secretly choose an enemy minion or Enforcer. The reveal is at the end of the turn. If you have a friendly model engaging the chosen model and there are no other enemy models within 2 inches and line of sight of the chosen model, you may reveal this scheme and gain 1 victory point. Then at the end, if the chosen model is on your table half and if it's on your table half or if your opponent killed it with their own models, you gain 1 victory point.
So Zoraida likes this.
So this was an old scheme, but they changed it because it's got an asterisk in the document. So,
why does Zoraida like it?
Because she has obey and she's annoying.
Well, I mean, that goes for everything.
She has obey and pushes.
Yeah. I mean, that she's going to be really good at that first part.
This is generally a really good one for Neverborn, yeah.
I mean, actually, she's good at both parts because if she can obey, and like that's one of the few times where it's like walk onto my side of the table,
Yeah.
or walk away from all of your other friends and stuff like that. And she's got a lot of
What is
things
it,
like that.
The Dead Rider? Just kidnap him?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kidnap him with the Dead Rider. That's true. I have to get a base for my Dead Rider.
Give you one?
What?
I said, oh, did I not give you one?
No. I want a scenic base since it's
yeah.
just the puppet. I want a scenic base to put him on.
Wants it
Weird
to
has,
actually
like,
look cool.
Yeah, Weird has a gravestone one that I thought he would be cool on.
I was wanting to find, like, you've seen like Japanese graveyards, how it's all the like kind of monolith stones.
Mm.
I was hoping to find one of those, but no dice. But
That
a
feels
graveyard one would be great. So
3D print one for that, probably.
that's what I'm trying to find, so I can convince.
If only we knew people.
Yeah, if only we knew people with 3D printers.
All right, so the second to last one is protected territory. The reveal is at the end of the turn, you may remove 2 friendly scheme markers completely on the enemy table half, at least 10 inches apart, and not within 3 inches of an enemy model to gain 1 victory point. And I believe it's the same for the end game. Yeah.
Yes.
So I like this more and less.
It's like
because,
the replacement to spread them out.
Yeah, but it's one less marker, but that has the stipulation of the enemy models. I think I still like it more.
Part of me is really interested to see a scheme pool where you have this with information overload, because then like both require multiple scheme markers on your opponent's half of the table, and so then they have to try and figure out which one you're actually doing.
That just sounds super annoying.
I think at that point you're both just dropping markers and no one's killing anything.
Yeah, you're just indiscriminately chucking.
Well, how many markers do you have? This guy and your ex.
Send a Kruligan. Quick bonus action. Eat it.
I'm just going to play Pandora this entire GG.
Yep, that's exactly.
And I saw that one coming.
Poltergeist eats scheme markers like
he
crazy.
does?
Oh, yeah. It's Pulse 4.
It's like
God.
It was bad. I did not enjoy
it. Does Lady Justice's thing, does that get rid of scheme markers too, or is that just corpse and scrap?
I don't know.
What thing are you talking about?
She had a thing where it's like I'm looking her up now.
Okay.
Lady J1 does not, if that's what you're thinking. Restore
natural order doesn't do that now. Sorry. What that used to do was it removed all the counters from that like 4 pulse around her. She just got rid of everything. So she was really brutal against rezzers who wanted lots of corpse markers. She would just walk up and be like, they're all gone.
No, that doesn't happen.
But it doesn't do that anymore. So this is once again a case of
that used to be overpowered.
Well, it seems really powerful now because it's all conditions on people within 4 inches of her, so that's good. It's just different. It's just completely different now.
All right, and then our last one is Ensnare. Reveal at the start of an enemy non-minion model's activation. Before resolving any other effects that happen at the start of the model's activation, you may remove 2 friendly scheme markers within 3 inches and line of sight of that model. If you do so, gain 1 VP. Then the end condition is choose an enemy model. You may remove 2 friendly scheme markers within 3 inches and line of sight of the chosen model to score 1 VP. So the second half doesn't have the minion clause, but they're pretty much the same.
So, do you not choose
the
second one till the end?
You choose at the start of their activation, and then you choose at the end of the game.
Yep.
Huh. That's interesting, because it's not... I feel like all the other ones I've played in the last GG, you had to...
choose at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, so, once again, that one's like... I'm excited, because like we were talking about this before the a podcast, but like I feel like more schemes need to use scheme markers because that's the
Well,
the
this is
thing.
your GG.
Yeah. This is
And
the
this
GG.
one only has like 4, I think it was, that don't, so that's nice.
Yeah.
But like, so in Snare, seems like it's really good to go with information overload or protected territory. Actually, it feels really good with protected territory. Because either they go to try and remove it, and you're like, oh, well, I'll plop a second one down and get my points. Or they don't go for it, and I'll pick them up and get my points. So, that seems good.
This one just feels solid overall.
Yeah.
You just gotta throw scheme
It's
markers
also
out
one
like all
that
the
you can
other ones
actually-
want.
You can actually score that one on your side of the table, too.
Yeah. More schemes on friendly sides of the table. That's what I want.
So you can hide back there with Pandora.
Don't talk to me. All right, so our positive side of the podcast, which of these schemes is your favorite?
Well, I've already said that information overload is kind of my favorite,
Oh, yeah.
but the caveat there is that's because I've just started playing Molly, and it seems like one that's really good for her. Like her
Just
crew is.
Molly? Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't. I know it's not just Molly, but I don't have the extra knowledge of all the crews to say who else it'd be good with. But specifically, she has the tools to manipulate this one. So and also, like, if I take information overload and that encourages you to drop more scheme markers, and my Crooligans will then let me
that's
draw
less
cards.
AP going against you, yeah.
Like that's less AP. That's me being able to use this bonus action to draw a card. Like, that feels real good. So that's because of where my mind is right now. That one feels. That one is like, that's my favorite one.
Okay. How about you, Kuro?
I'm gonna say Ensnare. I like the flexibility there.
Oh, the one, last one. Gotcha.
Snare seems real good.
Yeah, it's just solid. Mine is obviously take prisoner for no selfish reason or faction specific.
Yeah.
All right, how about your negative or your least favorite scheme?
Which one of these am I gonna suck at the most?
Well, you have like 9 keywords, something like that. So that can't be all of them.
I'd probably say let them bleed. But that's for 2 reasons. One is it doesn't use scheme markers, and those always kind of annoy me. But also, there's just it's a lot of, you have to watch every model to try and get this accomplished, which is rough. And the first part is you can't let well, I guess they can die, because then that just changes what the highest cost one is. But still, you have to have things at half of their health for a turn. It does a lot of things that I don't want to mess with.
And I feel the same way about information overload.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
There's too much going on here. That's my opinion there. It does have me putting scheme markers on my side to prevent it, but that's not productive.
I will say that I want to see you try information overload with Lucius.
Lucius would be very good at it, yes.
And have like the lawyers obeying people and like, you drop one of my scheme markers over there. Do it.
Well, and their tome trigger is to drop a scheme marker in base contact with the target.
Oh, see, there you go.
What about you, Kuro?
Probably let them bleed, well, I didn't realize that the way it's worded until Crop said something about the cost changing if you kill them. So that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
But
because it specifically is checking enemy models in play.
Yeah, it says enemy models in play. So that does change. I was thinking in our game you kept the guy alive. I think
I I had to take burning off the ice golem because it was gonna die, so I took it off with Pandora.
I think deathbed's just the way I think is. I will screw that up. I'm gonna. It's too many things to keep track of. I'm gonna screw that up somehow.
That's fair.
That being said, I do think that Deathbeds is a good one for Tina.
Oh, I mean, Tina and I are in a love-hate relationship.
You have a very difficult relationship, and that's fair.
Yeah, very fair.
Counseling and.
But I was gonna say any master like her that can just drop markers at a decent distance, Deathbeds has potential. So it is a little tricky though.
Just gotta find a way to get the scheme marker out there too.
Yeah. Sounds like Euripides would like that one though, because he can move the.
Yeah, and the Cyclops bonus action drops a scheme marker in base with the pillar.
That's pretty good.
You know, if they ever made pillars. Just put the tome in my stat.
No, and you can't use soul stones either. Suck it.
You get nothing, and you like it.
Almost seems like they should have tools for the job or something. But that would probably be too good with their other ability.
Too good with the old ways, yeah.
Oh my god. Sorry, my brain just... tools for the job in the old ways? Fuck.
Yeah, forget I said that. No one hear that.
Dear Weird, do not underline italicize. Don't do that. Do this.
Then they will do it.
That's true.
I expect it in the next set.
All right, so right here we would take a listener question. Obviously, it's the first episode, so we don't have one. I should have probably prefaced at the beginning that we are newer, so we're going to get things wrong, obviously. You can leave a comment and help us out learning this game. Pretty complicated.
There's a lot of moving pieces.
I'm just going to claim to be trashed here all the time.
Yeah, and we're a lot better than we were a year ago at this game, so... You guys have anything else?
I don't think I got anything.
Alright, I'm gonna hit the outro music. And thank you for joining us on our first episode. Until next time, keep it positively modified. All right.
Yay.
There you go.
That was fun. I'm pretty happy with how very applicable my one game of Molly was.
Yeah, actually.
This does seem like a gaining grounds that's pretty good for her.
Yeah. It's very schemy. Colette is very good at it too.
Yeah, only I had Colette pieces.
I'm gonna go eat, and then I'll probably relaunch the stream playing Dead by Daylight.
Alright, toodles.
Fun. Seriously, you need to go back and look at that bit where I walk over the guy who has, as far as I can tell, plot twisted himself.
Yeah,
and then I just come back for him, and I was like, nope, I plot twist, you don't plot twist. Bam.
All right, thanks everybody.
Toodles.